Hey, what's up, y'all? My name's Sean. I'm in college, and today I shot what I think is a pretty cool Photoshop manipulation with cards. And I did one of these a few months ago, and I got a lot of questions asking how I did it. So I figured I would give a little explanation as to how I did that. So let's get into it. So you might be wondering what this cup of change is doing on my desk, and I'll tell you right now, it's my tripod for my microphone. Because when you're a broke college student, you make use of what you got. For this, I had basically a one light setup, and I can show you that right now. For this, I actually used a dish light, and this has a blue bulb in it right now, but previously it had a white bulb in it. And I clipped it to my bed, which is right there, and it was daylight out when I shot. This was a few hours ago. So, and then I had a tripod and a camera. I shot the photos. I had the idea of having arms on my fingers, right? And I wanted them holding cards. I wanted a way to have both hands in use so that, two arms, but then also executing a flourish. And I chose the worm because it is a simple flourish and most people know it. I noticed when I was doing the worm that one of my palms was facing towards me, this one up here, and the other one was facing away. So I made sure when I took the other photo to have one facing the opposite way to match the same position of my hands. And I actually ended up taking about 70 shots of both my arms and my my arms and my body. And from there, we get into the Photoshop part. So let's take a look at that. I actually began this process in Lightroom, choosing the photos that I wanted and opening them in Photoshop. So once I find the right photos, I opened them both in Photoshop and started working with one at a time. You can see here I'm taking out the background of the worm layer by masking, and you can see it's pretty rough, but I go in and fix that in just a second by using actually a Wacom tablet, which is the stylus and a trackpad to let you use your hand instead of your mouse. And it's a lot easier if you draw, or if you just like to use your hand to erase things, which I happen to do. And you can see I'm pretty much refining the mask right now. I'm finishing up, and I'm gonna actually squeeze this into the hand layer and resize it to fit on top of my fingers, kind of like gloves. Except these gloves don't keep your fingers warm, they just look funny because they're arms actually. So right now I'm actually liquefying to make it fit more onto my fingers because it looked pretty weird before. And as you can see, there's a huge distinction between the worm layer and my hands. So that'll be fixed with some exposure adjustments here. And it still looks pretty awkward, and it took a lot longer than it seems to get this right, but I did some exposure adjustment and some level adjustment, as well as hue adjustment to get the luminance, saturation, and hue correct on the hand layer. And you can see it's kind of come together better now. It all comes together kind of at the end with the final color grade. But what I ended up doing is actually burning the top part of my hand, because when I up the exposure on my hand layer, the glove layer we'll call it, it upped the exposure of the cards, which completely blew them out. So I had to go in and fix that, and now it looks pretty normal. I'm going in and refining the mask now and just kind of cleaning up around the edges to make it not look manipulated, even though we all know it is. And just a few more liquefies and we'll be good here. So this was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be to actually mask around everything like I did. Here you can see I'm exposing the hand to match the glove layer. Here's some more cleanup around the cards, and now I'm back in Lightroom to adjust the color as I want it. So I didn't do any color grading in Photoshop. I saved that for the end so I can edit everything at once. And now I'm going back to Photoshop to add a blur around my hands and fingers to give it more of a realistic camera autofocus blur. And now we are back in Lightroom to do some cropping, some more hue adjustment, and here's the export, and here's the final product. So playing card photography is becoming a really trendy thing in cardistry now, I think, especially on Instagram, because that is what Instagram is for. It's for sharing photos. And I think that's a really great way to grow the art, aside from videos, is really nice photography. And you see it everywhere. If you just go to the hashtag Cardistry on Instagram, you'll actually end up seeing a bunch of posts, not only pictures, but also video. I think just doing things like this is just a creative way to present cardistry, and it engages you in not only the fact that it's cardistry, but in that it's a interesting photo to look at. So I hope to see some people trying this on their own, maybe, if you want, and if not, that's okay. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this gave some insight as to what I was thinking when I was shooting this, and hope you enjoyed it. I gotta go figure out what's for dinner now. For the past few nights, it's been cup of noodles and rice. Man, I love college.